Hello, AP Statistics students. This is Mr. Childs, and I just wanted to give a little bit of a update, or not really update, but just kind of a little overview of the test again and post it on the site. Let's start with multiple choice questions. Dealing with the correlation coefficient, the R value. Remember, that is a standardized value. Therefore, any changing of units doesn't change that at all. Uh, also, consider that the range of values for the correlation coefficient is -1 to +1, and sort of know what each one looks like. Uh, be able to read a scatter plot. I think we can now. So if you see a scatter plot, be able to interpret it based on the explanatory and response variable. Uh, Remember my gasoline question about extrapolation. You can't extrapolate beyond the range or the scope of the data. Even though it'd be fun to do so, you can't do that. Know how to interpret a relationship. I always do it as X, as the explanatory variable increases by a unit, what happens to response? It does whatever the slope does. So keep that one in mind. Having trouble with my papers here. Residual plot. Remember the old residual plot? Remember how to do one? Remember, you put all the values of X and L1 and all the residual values, which you get through the StatCalc 8, the regression, you put that in L2. And then when you look at the plot, you're looking for a curve. And if there's a curve, then linear model isn't going to work. But if there is relative randomness, then it will work. Definitely know how to interpret a computer output. Remember, I told you look for the intercept first. It says intercept. To the right of that is your y-intercept. And just below that is the explanatory variable. And to the right of that would be the slope. And the only other thing out of all the output that would be helpful is the R squared, the coefficient of determination. And I think that would take care of that. Once again, that's another question where that's important, knowing how to interpret the computer output. Remember, a outlier in terms of a scatter plot is vertical distance from the regression line, not just a point that's out there all by itself, but it's got to have a large vertical distance from the regression line. And if remember that lesson he gave on when you remove points close to the regression line don't have much effect, and points that are a long ways off from it, they do. They have more of an effect. So keep that one in mind. And then finally, uh, another reading and interpreting the computer output. Now, one thing I'll say about these questions, I think I've said it before, but I want to say it again. 12 multiple choice questions. They are selected randomly. So often when you look at a test, you think question number one is going to be the easiest and question number 12 is going to be the hardest. That's not necessarily the truth at all with these questions. They are picked from many sources. And so don't fall into that trap when you're trying to select which two you don't want to do. Okay. That's why I give you two not to do, because some of them are a lot harder than others. Okay. Now looking at free response. The first question is another, I can't stress enough how important it is that you would know how to read and interpret the computer output. Once again, the constant tells you the y-intercept, and just below that is the explanatory variable, and to the right of that is the slope. And once again, r squared is important. And remember that phrase for r squared, the coefficient of determination is the percent of the y variable that can be explained by the variability in the y variable that can be explained by the variability in the x variable or the explanatory variable. Okay. uh, 1 and 2 are very similar, just interpreting a regression shouldn't be a problem. Then 3 is an interpreting a scatter plot, and that shouldn't be a problem. So I fulfilled my promise. I gave a little overview. I don't know if you needed really much more, but good luck tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a good night. Bye.